Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello, and welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. This is our off-air podcast that we do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you listen, that means you are in the platypus posse.
Hey.
Welcome to it. We also have other podcasts like Miguel and Holly Full Show. So if you ever missed the show, you can always catch up with everything there.
Yeah.
Miguel and Holly's Blown Off. We have Miguel and Holly Queen City Confessions. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, basically just type in Miguel and Holly and you'll see all the different podcasts that we have. And make sure to leave us a rating. We greatly appreciate it. Amy said we have an echo. Hold on. That is. There we go.
Oh, it's me. Sorry.
Yeah, it was your computer.
I forgot.
That's all right. So yeah, we're here. How's everybody's weekends?
It was good. Surprise kid-free weekend. It wasn't supposed to be. And yeah, I know. It was really good. But also it's a little bit rough on it was a little rough on Saturday morning and most of the day Sunday for my person. And it's not my business to talk about his situation, like his mental health or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it crossed my mind, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago that, I don't know a good way to do it. As a partner for someone who has bipolar, I think it would be interesting to do like a podcast or even like a TikTok account that kind of goes through the ups and downs of supporting someone who has that disorder. Because it's a lot. And I'm not saying oh, it's poor me, but as the partner, you are, sort of the barometer most of the time. And so he had a rough Saturday morning and a rough day Sunday. And when I say rough, there's so many different directions that can go in. But typically, in broad terms, in the spring and in the fall, he tends to be rather up. And I hesitate to use the word manic because there's a lot of connotations already attached to that. But I guess if we had to call it something, it would be manic. So he's more manic in the spring and the fall. We've noticed. Oh, he's calling me. I hope he didn't do anything. Can you just
you want to answer it?
Yeah. Pause.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
That's all right.
Okay.
All right.
Damn, what a cliffhanger.
I know, right? I was like, what happened?
What happened? Why you mad?
I want to know. Well, why Holly's taking the phone call. Kelbin, how was your weekend?
Girl, if Holly was about to get deep, I think I'm about to get deep too.
Oh, so okay. So the title of this podcast is called The Deep One.
Yes.
Everybody's going in.
I like that.
Wow.
So Friday, I talked about this on the Can't Let It Go that we made a friend, Oscar and I, my fiance, and it was a hookup that one of Oscar's friends made while he was out of town. And so this guy said, hey, I'm in my second year of medical school. I just had a really rough year. And so I feel like I am going to take a little break for a week.
Wait, what are you taking a break from? Sorry, I just came back.
Yes. And so I'm just talking about my weekend. And so I was rehashing what I talked about on Can't Let It Go about my friend that I made. One of Oscar's and I's friends had a hookup. And so that hookup decided to take a week off from school to hang out with our friend, which we thought was a red flag, which we thought was very clingy. And so we go and we basically fall in love with this guy. Like, he is the sweetest human being ever. And then Friday we had a final kind of outing because we had hung out multiple times throughout the week that he was here. And so it led up to what eventually I said on Can't Let It Go, which was it was going to be a really sad Saturday because that's it. He is in medical school for the next 9 years.
Oof.
There is no way that they are going to make a relationship happen, no matter what a beautiful and amazing connection that they had during this week.
Where does he live?
He lives in Boston.
Oh,
yes.
And would your friend move up to Boston at all to be with him?
I feel like he could, because the same thing with Oscar, he was able to move and hop around because he works in retail. And so it is possible, but there was a lot of factors that are not playing with them right now. I mean, the guy has some trauma about his previous engagement where he was cheated on, and so they have no foundation. They played house this week,
Right.
in a
Right.
perfect
Right.
It was a
world.
fantasy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And so it was very sad. And so we hung out Friday all day, all of us. We had a nice, fun double date. Saturday came around, and I checked in on both of them, and they were both very sad.
Mm.
And so for some reason, I felt sadness, and I
Mm.
didn't understand why. And so, of course, I felt really sad that I wouldn't have this friend anymore because he was such a delight. He was such a sweetheart. But then I call my friend Rob from New York. He works at Google. And I was catching up with him, and I was telling him the story, rehashing it, and he was telling me some things that he was going through. And so later on throughout the day, I didn't understand why I was so sad, and I just didn't get it. I was like, do I care that much about this person that I met for a week? Was it
Mm.
that big of a deal? Um, and so I call my person, and he's at work closing till like 9 or 10. And so I was alone with my own thoughts throughout the whole day. Come Sunday, I go out for a walk because I was like, I need some fresh air. And I hate walking the dog. Like, I am a lazy bitch. It is an argument with Oscar every time. I'm like, you go fucking walk if it's my day off.
Yeah.
But I felt like I needed to go for a walk. And I come back and I go, Oscar, I think I'm really sad that Ryan left, and I don't know why. And I start breaking down, and I start crying. And I'm like, I think I just realized that Ryan leaving triggered the same emotion that I felt when I left my friends in Miami.
Mm.
And that's how I connected the two. So it wasn't necessarily about Ryan, it was how he made me feel during that week, and then how sad we all felt collectively when he left that Friday night. And so it felt so good to just like relieve all of that. And so telling you the story now, like I'm not crying, thankfully, because last night I rehashed this conversation with my friend and I was bawling again, and I didn't
Yeah.
understand why. And that's not me. Like I don't often cry about things that make me sad. I just kind of keep going. And so talking to my partner, Oscar, I was telling him, I was like, it's not about Ryan. It's how that emotion made me feel. And he's like, you haven't really mourned that part of like not being able to see your friends. You've been sad about it. You have
Right.
been sad about it, and you're trying to work on it, but you didn't
Mhm.
mourn it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it felt good to have that realization, because a part of me was like, do I have fucking feelings for Ryan? I was like, that's not it. I was like, that's not it. He's
You're like,
lovely.
do I like him?
Yeah, do I like him? Is that what
It wasn't
is?
about him. He was a
It wasn't.
representative of the
Mhm.
feelings that you haven't processed.
Correct.
There's grief that you
Mhm.
are still dealing with deep down that you haven't processed. Oscar's right.
And it will continue to happen. I mean, I felt that, because once we went through all of the process of like getting here to Charlotte, and like I remember when we moved up here, Abe and I think we did like 2 weeks of shows, and then I had to fly back to film the ending for the 100-Day Dream Home.
Yeah.
And so I literally that Sunday morning, I remember driving across the Howard Franklin Bridge, and then as I was like looking at the Tampa skyline, I lost it. Like, I mean, I was like sobbing. I almost thought I was gonna have to pull over because I was like, what the fuck? But like, I realized that when we initially drove up here, it was Abe and I, it was excitement. We're just coming off of leaving
Mhm.
Tampa and our honeymoon and the wedding and everything. And so I hadn't really had time by myself to really like think about what the last 7 years of my life in Tampa meant for me personally, professionally, and then what this big change meant. And so I feel like I have those moments very similar to you, where I think it was even once this weekend where I was just like, I think somebody was telling me about their time in Tampa. They went there recently. And I was just like, man, like I really miss it there sometimes. And then talking to one of our friends that they went to a party and they were all like dressing up and doing stuff, and we were FaceTiming with them, Abe and I. And I was like, their lives have continued to go on. And they were like naming these people. They're like, oh, yeah, well, Bob and Tom are going to be there. And Abe and I were like, who's Bob and Tom? And they're like, oh, they just moved here 6 months ago. And we're like, oh, so we've started to be replaced. Okay,
Obviously, replacing you.
It's going to happen.
But it's not a replacement. They're just they're
like
getting new friends.
Exactly. They're moving on, but it's like, oh, these are things that like we'll never know that you all do, and it's just like a real just when you realize life changes and it keeps going on, unfortunately, and you'll keep having those moments like that.
Yeah, and it was weird too because I felt all of the emotions at the same time because not only was that really sad, but I also thinking that me talking to my friend Rob was going to make me feel better by catching up with an old friend, it in turn made me sad because of what he's going through in his relationship. And so I put that on me. I recently talked to my other friend who she's going through some mental health issues that I can't really help her with. And so I started thinking about all that and I'm like, I'm not only sad, I also can't help my friends. And it was just a combination of it all. But it feels good to talk about it now that I'm not like bawling, which feels good. I think I just let it out yesterday.
And I think
That's
what
good.
you'll see, as you're sort of grieving what you had in Miami, but I feel like, you're approaching your 1 year here in Charlotte. And I feel like you'll look up, and be like, wow, I'm sad. Like, I'm sad that those people aren't in my life on a daily basis. But like now I've gained all these new friends here in a new city. And also I have all those friends there. And then the magic comes when you can like have them all together. And you're like, oh my gosh, look at this. Now I have like twice the friends, But getting there takes a minute.
Period.
Oh, I'm hugging you from Tampa. So that's another, sorry about that. But I am hugging you.
I told Kelbin when you picked up your phone that we're going to call this the deep one because I feel like everybody got something to talk about today.
Oh, good. I write that down. The deep one.
Deep one.
So Holly, getting back into what you were saying, and Zinda said, that's a great idea about your podcast, Holly. It would show support and even others could offer some advice or suggestions. So if you want to hop back into that.
And by the way, I thought it was some big deal. He just want to tell me that LaCroix is not on sale at the grocery store. And what are we gonna get? Like, is it Polar? Do we get bubbly? I'm like, I'm in a pod. Like, I hadn't even said, I'm like, we're doing a podcast. I turned the mic off and he's like, okay, so they have cherry bubbly. I'm like,
the same person. I'm the same person. I don't care what you're doing.
He's like, that's cool. But listen, I have a really important question about seltzer water. Cool. Whatever. So anyway, back to this. So,
by the way, you should tell him to get something for Try It Tuesday.
I know. Do you want, because he's there right now. Do you want to figure out what we're going to do for Try It Tuesday?
Let me see. I'm sorry. Tomorrow's the end of February.
Platypus Posse suggestion?
Any suggestions?
Yeah, what do you all want to see for Try It Tuesday?
Let's see. We're going into March.
March is St. Patrick's Day. And
what is St. Patrick?
Corned beef and cabbage. I'm so excited to eat me some corned beef and cabbage.
I feel like that actually would be good with.
It would probably be.
Yeah. Well, probably.
Did you know that there is sweet Carolina sauce? Because he picked up a bottle of that like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I've decided through this segment. By the way, I'm so sorry, but I hate Carolina barbecue sauce. But then I tried the sweet Carolina barbecue sauce, and it's fantastic.
Okay.
So anyway, what do you we want to do?
I was gonna say a Snickers bar, but Miguel
fruit,
can't.
Vegetables, candy, cookies. We did cookies recently.
Cinnamon buns.
Cinnamon
bun.
Wait, but Miguel can't have that because it's a sweet.
No, I can. I just can't have it at night.
At night. Well, how do you get a cinnamon bun? Loophole.
That's what Holly said. She said, "Peeps."
We got to do that closer to Easter.
Oh, true. Because was Easter in April.
Yes.
April. Okay.
It's like April 9th, I think.
I kind of see if he can find a cinnamon bun. Because I have
bakery.
because I have to go to Publix today too. Anyway. So yeah, see if he can find that, and that'll be. Oh, that's gonna be really bad.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
Carolina barbecue sauce, drizzled on top of the cinnamon bun.
Look like caramel.
Ugh.
But it won't taste like it.
Tony, like Holly said, we'll do peeps closer to Easter. So yeah, see if we can do that, and I'll pick one up.
I texted him, so hopefully he gets the text.
Perfect. So if you
he didn't need a call apparently to meander down the conversation about seltzer waters. Anyway,
you should listen to Try It Tuesday. It happens live at 8:25 on Hits 96.1, anywhere on the iHeartRadio app or on your Alexa. Holly.
Yeah.
So back to
Okay.
your podcast.
So I was like, I don't know how he would even feel about it because it's not my disorder. It's his and it's his life. And I'm just, the partner talking about his disorder. So it's not like poor me, like he's got it worse, obviously. But I think as a partner to someone who has something mental health wise or physically even, you take it on too about having to or wanting to help them with it. So I was thinking about that because this weekend, so he had a rough time. I think I told you rough time Saturday morning, most of Sunday, because spring and fall, he's kind of manic. And summer is usually very balanced and very good. Christmas, he gets like really frantic about like, does he have enough gifts for people? Did he buy the right gifts for people? And then as soon as Christmas is over, he's like super balanced and normal and great for my birthday. But then again, like probably early February is when the mania kind of starts to ramp up. And the problem is, and this is why I would love to maybe do a podcast or something, is that bipolar disorder is so much different and much more different than people think it is. Because if you've never had any experience with it, you just think of it as something very stereotypical where you're either very depressed or you're just excited and like, everything is great and I feel great. This is not this bitch calling me again.
What?
No, this is the most cliffhanger ass story. Block.
I can't. It's about the cinnamon buns, probably.
Oh my God. Go ahead and answer it. I'll turn you down.
I can't.
Well, Kelbin, speaking of podcasts, do you want to, because don't you have something that you're working on, or are you waiting to talk about it?
This is a triggering conversation because we just had it yesterday. I've been trying to also come out with my own podcast, and this will be the first time that I will have something that's mine, which is like, I think a lot of pressure for me that I'm building myself. I don't think nobody really gives a fuck, but that's how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it as this is my first thing ever. I've always been attached to something, and I'm going to do it with my partner, Oscar. The issue is he is not a host. And so it's not necessarily an issue. I think we were just trying to figure out the kinks. And so we've recorded 3 episodes. But I don't have the motivation to edit all the little tidbits that we've had in between.
So you want this not to be like our podcast where it's just straight through. You want to edit it some.
Well, I do want that, but the thing is,
there's
a host that hasn't done this, and that's fair.
Correct.
And I don't try to put any expectations on him. And so we've recorded 3 episodes, and I think we're at a place where like, okay, we've done it. Let's now redo it. And so that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now, and I'm really hopeful. Because we know what we're doing and how it's going to work out.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
And that's good to, I mean, and here's the thing, what is true about life is that it doesn't have to be perfect, because, if you publish those first 3 episodes, you're just going to keep getting better. So instead of like trying to go back and redo them, just keep going and just see what happens. Because like this show, like with any project you take on, it always sucks at the beginning and it just takes time to get there. And that's what makes it exciting to listen to that journey in a podcast form, because you get to then go back in like a year and be like, remember how badly we sucked? Holy crap, we were really bad.
That's such good advice, but so hard to follow. I wouldn't. I'd be like, and then not do that. Like I would even tell somebody else to do that. Like I'm agreeing with you. I'm like, yes, Kelvin, do that. But in my heart, I'd be like, I'm not gonna do that.
I repeat Miguel's advice all the time, which like has stuck with me so much. It's RuPaul's Drag Race season 1 was one of the worst, but look at it now.
So it's true.
Got to keep going.
I will finish this mother effing story. Like, by the way, he's like, I looked. Why he's whispering like someone's gonna hear him in public. He's like, I looked and there's no like Little Debbie or like any of those cinnamon buns. I'm going to go back to I'm like, go to the bakery. Apparently there's a bakery. He's like, well, what if they have cinnamon bread? I'm like, no, it has to be a bun. I have to go. Now, whatever. This poor man.
And you can also too, if you can't find it in the bakery, they have usually the Entenmann's on an end cap at Publix.
Yeah.
Apparently he couldn't find an Entenmann's or a Little Debbie cinnamon roll. Whatever. Sometimes
go to a bakery.
I know. I'm like, if you can't find it, I'll just figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
That probably didn't go too well. I'll figure it out.
I love relationships.
I know. Oh, God. Y'all, he found one cinnamon roll. Oh, no, he says cinnamon roll donut for $1.19. Is that the same thing?
It's fine. As long as it's fine. We'll go with it. Ain't nobody listening gonna be like, well, Holly.
He said cinnamon roll donut for $1.19 or a pack of cinnamon rolls for $5.99.
You can get a pack and then you can give the rest to, the other on-air staff.
Oh, yeah. Get the pack. I'll bring it in.
That's what I normally end up doing when I get anything for Try It Tuesday. I end up giving it to, especially if it's sweets or carbs, I give it to other
Somebody
people.
did it, offer me a donut today. And I was like, oh, no, thank you. They're like, no, please take one. And I'm like, no, please, I don't want one. But thank you. And they're like, but can you? I'm like, I don't. And then I have to be the stupid ass that's like, I don't really eat wheat and gluten. And then I feel like an absolute douchebag when I say that out loud. And I'm like, it's just, thank you though, but thank you very much. Thank you so much. Like they were like offended I didn't want one.
See, that's when you just take it and then you throw it away. But you put the plate over it so they can't see it in the trash can. That's what I would do when I was young and I didn't want to eat the dinner that my mom had. When she would go to the bathroom, I'd run to the trash can and scrape some off my plate and then put a paper towel over it and be like, ha-ha!
Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Cinnamon roll crisis is over, by the way.
And by the way, this is behind the scenes on how Try It Tuesdays works in the planning stages on Mondays as we're going back and forth trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Cinnamon roll gate.
Yeah, exactly. And Amy Gordon's right. I probably owe another $5. Did I swear? I think I swore.
Wait, what is
I don't remember. Did I say a bad word?
You said douchebag and you said...
I said that?
You said douchebag. Yeah.
No, but you did. But that's not a cuss word because we say it on the radio.
Oh, because I called myself that? Yeah.
Did you say the GD?
No, I try not to say that in public. I just feel like some people find it's too offensive.
Didn't we give her a pass for ass?
Can I get a pass?
Yes. Okay. I think if you can say it on the radio, then I think that's okay.
Period.
And you can say ass on the radio.
Yeah. Okay, so I like that because that gives me some guidance.
Holly said I need to be able to say at least one.
I can say
at
ass.
least something. So if I can say it on the air, we're good.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like the story doesn't even matter. Nobody cares about it anymore. However, and this is this is the problem because he's in a weird mood. So I'm trying to also deal with it.
Right.
Nobody cares about the story, but I'm gonna fucking tell it, and I'm paying $5 for that.
All right. Hold on. Let me write it down.
That was worth it.
Yeah.
It was worth it because now I'm just irritated. All right, so I write down $5, please.
Got it.
$5. Okay. So the point was this weekend it was rough because mania, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But most people think that it's because you read about it and it's mania is euphoric, wants to spend a lot of money, thinks everything is great, they feel amazing, and depression is depression. But that's simply not the case. In fact, rarely does my person ever have that euphoric style of mania. And every now and then he will, and even that's you would think oh, it must be great to be with a euphorically manic person. Not even that's a little bit rough because it's not quite right. And even though they're in a super good mood, you're this is a little extra. So can we just so on Saturday and Sunday, I feel like I did a good job of being a good partner for this because I sort of let him do his own thing on Saturday morning, but I knew something was up. And sometimes he doesn't want to talk about it right away, but I can always tell. Like I said, I'm the barometer. So it's probably from, years of having to walk on eggshells around my mom or my parents when I was growing up. So I'm highly tuned to other people's moods and behaviors. And so I knew something was up, but he kind of worked himself through it. And by the afternoon, we were okay. Then Sunday, I knew something was up again. But my problem that I really work on, and I think that him having this disorder has helped me work on my own self. Because I'm it's me. It's probably me. He's probably mad at something I did. What did I do? And then I'm working myself up and I'm or it's not. Or it's not about me. What happened was finally he came in the kitchen. I think I was eating lunch about 1:00 yesterday. And he's I just want to let you know. I just want to let you know what's going on with me. He's I feel like this is not, he's I would normally say it's anxiety, but it's not. It's paranoia. He's I'm having paranoid thoughts. like really scary ones that I feel like something terrible is going to happen. And then I realize like, okay, because he's done a lot of therapy, a lot. And he's like, and then I realized this is a paranoid thought and it's not real. But then I have to work my heart rate and work everything down because it feels real. But I'm trying to tell myself it's not real. And then it takes me like an hour to get through it and it's exhausting. And then finally I'm done with that arc. And then another paranoid thought pops into my head, but I'm not sure if that's real or not. And we have to go through the same thing. And I'm like, that's exhausting. And I'm so sorry you're going through that. I was like, so you're in this loop. He's like, it's not a loop. It's not a loop. It's just. And then he proceeded to tell me the loop. I'm like, I know you are. I'm like, you're so close to the situation and you don't see what's happening. I'm like, because he's got some medications that he was on years ago, like made him insane. So he's not on a lot of medication right now, very mild stuff, but he does have like a stronger as needed medication. And his big thing with that is he's so scared of medication. He wants to take it sparingly. And I understand because he doesn't need it most of the time. But I'm like, this might be a time for that medication. And he's like, but my psychiatrist doesn't tell me exactly when it's like, he said, it's as needed. And I don't know what as needed means. Like, is this, maybe this isn't bad enough. Like this doesn't seem that bad. Controlling my moods. I'm controlling my emotions. And I'm just sitting on the couch and having a miserable time, but none of you all are miserable. And I'm like, if you're questioning whether you should have it or not, it might be time to have it. And I'm like, as someone who sees you all the time, I'm the barometer. I'm telling you, I think you need it. But the problem with this medication is he'll take it and then be like done for the next 4 to 6 hours. It just sinks you down into the couch. Like it's like Xanax on steroids. So he doesn't usually like to take it. He's like, well, I'm not going to get anything done. I'm like, do you think you were going to get anything done while you're sitting here spinning your wheels in this paranoia loop? Because I don't see you doing anything. He's like, okay, fine. So he took the medication and I ended up taking Maya and one of her friends like to the park and an arcade. That was like the plan anyway. So I'm like, this is perfect. Sit down and just watch a movie. And so when we got back from the park, he's on the couch. He's like, hey.
How you doing?
Feel okay now. I'm like, good. Good. He's like, it's probably a good thing I took that. I'm like, yes, it is. He's like, I feel like there's some stuff I should be worried about it, but I just don't have the energy to care. I'm like, yes. But did you get some rest? Like, did you relax a little bit? He's like, yes. For the last few hours, nothing crazy popped into my head. I'm like, that's what this medication is for. And it's hard to tell sometimes that kind of thing. And so I just say all this to say, like, it can be a tough, like the weekend was great. Overall, I'd be like, yeah, we had a great dinner on both Friday and Saturday night. We went out to 2 different restaurants. We had great nights. The night times are usually great. We played Zelda. We had someone come over Saturday afternoon to look into like, we're trying to like fix our bathroom up. That went well. Like overall, it was well. But then there's that undercurrent of like, I don't know if I'm really that well right now. And I'm like, and I can forget sometimes that he even has bipolar disorder. Most of the time, in fact, until then I see him and I'm like, oh, this is, you're up, you're manic. And he's like, no, but I think it's hard to tell when you're the one that's in it. And so as the person, I feel like I did a good job guiding there, but it was an interesting weekend with trying to figure that out. That's the end of my story.
Yeah, I really think that you definitely should do, because I know you've been flirting with the idea of doing a mental health podcast, but not knowing exactly like what angle you should take.
It's a very broad,
It is. But I think that's a very interesting, because then you could, like, the whole concept could be interviewing the spouses of people dealing with different mental health issues and sort of like how they've overcome it. Because then you have people that are dealing with mental health issues that could listen to it to sort of get an opening or an understanding of what their spouse may be going to. And then people who might come across it who's like, my partner was just diagnosed with, some sort of issue. I need resources. I need help. And then this could be a great resource for people. And then you could have mental health professionals come in on it as well to sort of say, from our experience, here's what we think. So I think you have a good starting concept there.
Yeah, that just seems like a lot, but I do like it. It just seems like a lot. But yes, And the thing is that I think would be helpful about it is like I've seen like the really bad times, and like we are at a really good place right now where like the worst thing we have to do is figure out whether or not he should take this one pill on a Sunday. It's not like insane. I used to be part of a bipolar, like a partners or loved ones of bipolar support group on Facebook. And ultimately, within the last several months, I had to leave the group. I mean, I had been part of this group for years, but I had to leave the group because the group, and obviously when you are, going through something, you're searching for resources, as I was when I first signed up for the group. Most of the people in the group are dealing with like current trauma, like really bad stuff, like unmedicated spouses, or like people who won't admit that they have bipolar disorder, or people that don't manage it and think they're fine, but they are not fine. And it can be so horrible and traumatic. And so my story and my reality is very different from some of these people. Some of these people would just post like, my spouse can go F themselves and blah, blah, blah. And then everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like, yikes. But they're feeling so hurt by their spouse who's recklessly running around not treating their disorder. It makes sense you'd feel like that, or like abuse stuff, or like stuff where kids are in danger. And I'm just like, I don't belong in this group anymore.
Yeah.
But now there's like, it's like I'm a spouse or like a person, a partner of someone who is managing, but there is still ups and downs. So anyway.
Well, if you need help getting it together, I would not mind helping sort of help walk you through how to put it together. Because I love stuff like that. Figuring it out. I've been trying to do the same for my podcast that I want to do, that I'm telling myself, I'm like, all right, bitch, you gotta, once we get through the spring and the summer, now it's time to finally dive into it, because I've just been putting it off for so long. So I think you definitely should. Now that Maya's getting older too, and hopefully you'll have some free time,
Yeah. It still seems like very overwhelming right now.
Right.
On February 27th, it seems very overwhelming, but we're making way, like I think hopefully it will be less overwhelming. And when it seems like I'm not going to die if I take this on, that might be a good time to do it.
But see, here's the thing. I always say, look at it like this, like, all right, first things first, we have a concept. What's the name? We got the name. All right, who is the mental health advocate or professional that you could have on it? And then you work on that for a couple of weeks until you track that down. And then you go, okay, cool. Now I need to get some people lined up. What's a resource, or how could I go to a Facebook group? We can talk about it on the radio. And I'm sure we have a lot of listeners that have been there before and dealt with that. And so then you get some people lined up, and then all of a sudden you have a podcast. And so then you go, all right, you know what? Next Thursday, after we're done with all of our stuff, since we don't do podcasts on Tuesdays and Thursdays, as soon as we disconnect and we're done with show stuff, you can start recording. And then, so it's like, I feel like when you take off little chunks like that, it doesn't seem so like, all right, by next Thursday, Holly, we need a fully produced podcast with a trailer ready to publish on the iHeartRadio app. Go.
Jesus. Oh my God. Yes, no. No.
Marissa said, this is a great idea that would be beneficial for so many people. Laura said, Holly, if you did a mental health podcast, I would listen. My daughter is bipolar. My mother committed suicide, and I struggle with anxiety, depression on the regular. I have been involved with NASM to try to help my daughter. What is that?
It's oh my gosh, I can't. It's like National Alliance of, wait, I got to type it in because I don't remember and I don't want to get it wrong.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. Oh no, that's not right. Is it NAMI? Did you mean that?
What's that?
I don't know what that is, because I'm typing in NASM and that is personal training and fitness certificate.
Right. Yeah. There's a podcast that I've been flirting with the idea of committing to, because I have commitment issues. I never want like waste my time not enjoying something, consuming something that I don't enjoy, like when it comes to movies. But one of the people that we met at Morning Show Boot Camp, his name is Tino Cochino. And he has his own mental health podcast, which I listened to one episode once and I really enjoyed it. And so I constantly see the DMs that he gets about that certain podcast. And so I never thought of putting two and two together, like mental health and on a podcast. I've always thought it's either crime podcasts or podcasts like this one that's just fun and everyday
There's
conversations.
so many little niche
Yeah.
podcasts, and it's the National Alliance on Mental Health. That's what she meant.
Got it.
No worries. I figured after I saw that, that's what I thought. But yeah, it's something I could possibly do. I just gotta think on it, but I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, just start with the first step.
Mhm.
All right. Well, does anyone have anything else going on that they want to chat about?
Not really. I'm still like planning the funeral, by the way. Still dealing with all that. Like I don't cry as much anymore, and I'm okay. Maya had a big break finally for the first time since my mother passed. So that I think that was good, right? Like I was glad she cried it out. So that happened, and then my Auntie Pearl called me yesterday to go through all the things. I didn't realize we were going through all the things, but then she's like, "Do you have some time?" I'm like, "I do." It was some time. We talked about flights. We talked about what she's gonna make for dinner on that Friday night, like all this stuff. So that we got all lined up, which I was pretty glad about. But yeah, we're going towards that. And we have my mom's ashes upstairs sitting on her bed, actually, because my person went and picked them up because I didn't want to. And he just put them upstairs on the bed, closed the door. That's it. Well, I had to go up there yesterday because I cleaned Maya's room out. And it was long overdue. And I had to take a bunch of stuffed animals. And I'm like, what are we going to do with these? There's nowhere in this house for them. Our house is not that big. Like, we're going to put all this stuffed animals. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to deal with this some other time. I'm going to put them upstairs in my mom's closet. So when I carried all these stuffed animals upstairs, I went in her bedroom to put them in the closet, and it just felt heavy in there. I don't know. It felt heavy. I was like, I'm just going to throw these stuffed animals in here, and I'm leaving, and I'm not coming back in this room. So I'm a little nervous about traveling with them in March.
Are there
It's like a little bit under a month away now.
any like guidelines, or have you looked up like how do you travel?
Yeah. So
them?
in fact, the funeral director here told me how you do it. Like you have to have them in a very specific box that they come in from the funeral home, and you have to have paperwork from the funeral home. And you carry them on with you. You bring them in your carry-on. Like if they have that paper and they're in the specific box, they will not go through them. However, if I were to because they're in a bag, right, in the box. And if I were to take the bag out and put it in the urn and travel with that, they would probably go through it because it's not an official thing.
Right.
So they recommend against that. And also I just happened to see this on Twitter, but like some people try to put them in the checked luggage. And there was a situation where the checked luggage got all tossed around and the ashes popped out and flew everywhere.
Oh no.
And the airline had to apologize, but they were like, please, we are imploring you, do ashes and human remains in your checked luggage. Like you should bring them on board with you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to bring them on board with me. I'm just nervous about that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Is Maya going with you?
Yeah.
Have her hold.
Will you want me to make her carry him?
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't tell her.
God.
Be like, it's really important.
You pay rent. You pay your mortgage.
Just, hey, can you hold this box? What's this, Nana? No. Nope.
No, you don't have to tell her the truth.
No.
It's revenge for taking the Switch that weekend.
Right?
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. So I'll just keep you posted on how that's going, but otherwise everything's great.
Wow. I real quick, so I had a great weekend. Friday night, our friend we have this couple that one lives in Canada while he's doing nursing school, and then one lives in Florida in Lakeland, but he's from Charlotte, Lee and Jay. And so they meet up, they try to meet up probably once every couple of months or so. Since they're doing the long distance thing. And so they, Jay drove down from Canada and met him in Charlotte, and Lee drove up from Lakeland. And so we got to hang out with them, and his mom, Lee's mom, who lives in Charlotte, invited us over for dinner Friday night. And she is the definition of like a firecracker Southern woman. I mean, like the stories and the jokes. Like, I kind of want to have her on the podcast for the show one day because, I mean, she's just like, she should be a stand-up comedian. Like, we were in stitches the entire time. And what's really cool is that she's very honest because she battled with, or still battles with, alcohol addiction. And so she went to rehab. And so she tells these stories and she does it with such humor and grace, but she's so open and vulnerable about it. But the story she tells about like when she was dealing with alcoholism and like the way that she would like take stuff to like Bible study and stuff and be like, I got my coffee cup, but it ain't coffee. It's like,
right.
Oh my gosh.
From what I can understand and from my personal experience, when you can make it to a place of open vulnerability, be able to share your story with that humor and with realness,
right?
That's the place you want to be, because that means that you're really accepting of where you are.
Right. Most definitely. And it really was. So it was a pleasure to hang out with her. And her best friend, Pat, who's in her 70s, was there. And they're both just like these two old white ladies who just are hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
So fun. So she made steak, sweet potatoes, green beans, like the kind of like southern green beans that cook for 2 days with like bacon and ham hock in it.
Good Lord.
Oh, it was so good. And then they had some red velvet cake afterwards. So that was a fun time.
You had such a southern meal.
It like literally it was so good. And then we went to Top Golf near their house, and she's an excellent Vicky is an excellent golfer, was giving us tips and everything. And so then Saturday, Abe and I went to this going away party for a Charlotte gay here named Darvin. And I swear it was like every gay person I've ever met in Charlotte plus more was at this house party for this going away party. I mean, it looked like a club there. It was so intense.
Dang.
Was it hot?
No, it wasn't actually. It wasn't. Nice. It wasn't hot because it was kind of cooler Saturday night and had the doors open and stuff. Oh. But I tell you what, these Charlotte gays, they go all out for parties. I mean, they had like a red carpet when you walked up the driveway to the place, and then it had like a step and repeat where you could take pictures.
Dang.
And the let me read you all the theme or the actual invite, because it like the theme was like high fashion basically.
Work.
And so it was, Abe and I were like, the hell we gonna wear? We are not those people.
The hell we gonna do?
The hell we gonna do? All right, so let's see here. What to expect? This says the party invite. This is how extra they are, and I freaking love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving complete devastation. It's giving Centennial State fashion. It's giving that specific ambivalence you feel when your friend is leaving you. But, oh God, look at this fucking snatched bolero jacket with, I don't even know what that word is. EPAULETTES.
Epaulets.
Epaulets. I found in a haunted antique trunk. It's giving Darvin. That's his name. Prepare yourself for a night of black and white couture, of high fashion and glam. Our beloved Darvin, a.k.a. Big Daddy D, a.k.a. that one-time white party Bridgerton-themed celebrity, is sadly leaving us for Denver because he thinks no is better than humidity. To send him off to the mountain in high fashion, bring the most over-the-top, glamorous, extra, runway-worthy getup you have. Just be sure it's in black or white. We're talking that shiny little sparkly flapper dress you stole from great Aunt Sheena, who wore it to a prohibition party she threw in a basement that is now a TJI Fridays. We're talking a genuine polar bear shawl you snagged on the black market. We're talking so many fucking sparkles and diamonds that you won't be able to see straight for weeks, you glamorous fuckboy.
I would not go to that party. I would receive that invitation and I would not go because I would be like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to put on my body. And if I do show up, people are going to push me back out the door. I'm not going.
It's a lot of pressure. A shit ton of paragraphs on that invite.
Oh, wait, it's not done.
Oh.
My God. Nope.
It says, would CJ, and this is a guy who like is like a moment every time he walks out of the house. He always has a fashion moment. Would CJ wear it to a Ruby Tuesdays on a Wednesday afternoon? Would your mother disapprove because we can actually see your hole through the sheer? That's what we're talking about. Don't come up in here disrespecting us wearing a pair of black jeans and this cute top I found at Marshall's today. This will be drinks and tea spilling, but please bring your own drink so we don't run out. Moving cross country is hella expensive, y'all. Parking is limited, so please plan for your chauffeur to deposit and collect you from the event. See you on the runway, darlings. That was the party that we went to on Saturday.
I don't even know how you went.
Miguel went in like a polo.
I did not.
Did you? Let me see the photo.
I did not. I wore. Wait, hold on. Let me pull up here. We're gonna so you can see it. Here watching. So I was gonna wear this all white number. So I've been losing weight. And I'm down 15 pounds. So
nice.
Thank you. So there are some shirts that I keep sort of every week trying to wear that I'm like, all right, let's check this and see if this works. And the white shirt that I wanted to wear, it was it's a too soon shirt. And
it's a little, I like to say a little, it's just a little too soon.
Yeah, just a little too soon. So I had to go back to the closet to find something to wear. All right, let me show you here. Facebook share. All right, so you can see there that like I had on a white shirt, which was like open to like my titties basically.
Yes, Mom.
You at that Bob Ross level of openness.
Yes.
He liked to let that chest hair hang out in the 70s.
Yes,
or
honey.
The 80s, I guess.
I let it open and out, and then I had like this little crystal that actually Scotty, the body, our old producer, gave me. And I had white pants on, and you can't see here, but my blazer is black.
Where in this is a terrible picture. Like, is there a better picture?
I know. I don't have any pictures. I don't think I have any.
I mean, literally the only thing you could see from Miguel's description was just the.
There you go. You can kind of see there. There you go.
Okay, there it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys look good.
Yeah, so you can see there's the gold on the it's like shimmery gold on the blazer. Yeah. So I tried to, you know.
I couldn't see it in that photo. That was the only photo I saw. So I was like, you wore a polo.
And then Abe had on some black pants, black V-neck, and then that's actually the jacket from his wedding suit.
I knew it. I knew it. And you got to get as much use out of that as y'all can.
Absolutely. I'm like, I don't think we can wear the suits like as like one full piece anymore, but we can like pull them apart to wear for different stuff now. And then he has on these like big old high heels that he wore that night as well.
He does look super tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a fun little time. So
That's
I know.
Awesome. I'm glad. I mean, I would not have gone. Like, I would have gotten that and been like, this is code for Holly don't come. That's not, I'm not welcomed at events like that. And that's fine. I know my place. It's okay. But you look like you had a blast.
Holly.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, they would. Some of them have said they want to meet you because they listen to the show. And they're like, I want to meet Holly.
I told you that, Holly.
I like the Charlotte gays that I've met, like when I went to Pride, but like these new people that are coming in, like I don't want to meet them. No. The expectation is going to be too high. They scare me, and I did you that description alone? I'm clearly out from. God, I wish I could swear. I'm from like Bumble F, the middle of nowhere, basically. And it's just too much. It's too much, and I'm embarrassed.
I remember being wasted at Bar Argon, and this dude who loves the show telling me, I want to meet Holly whenever she's in town. Please let me know. I just want to hang out with her. And I was like,
okay.
Yes.
Cool. I'll let you know.
Okay.
So next time you're in town, we're gonna have some drinks on the balcony and have some gays over so you can meet them.
Yes,
but
literally.
we'll say dress in your most comfortable sweatpants.
I don't care. They can wear whatever. But can you just say, please leave your judgment ball gags at home? Like I don't want to meet it. They're going to judge me and I'm going to feel like garbage and it's too scary. They're scary.
It's going to be so much fun. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so it was a fun weekend. Oh, I meant to show this picture too before we head out because these two women listen to the show. And so I wanted to give them a shout out. Here we go. They listen to the show and they really like it.
Yay! Thanks for listening.
Yeah, so they came up.
If you look really quick, the girl on the right kind of looks like it could be me, and I was like, oh, good, maybe people will think I'm in Charlotte.
I should have
But
tagged
only
you in
if
this.
you look, you should have. Only if you look really fast. And the only reason I say that is because one time there was a different picture somewhere, and somebody was like, "Oh, it's good to see Holly," and it was not me. I was like,
I'd be like, Holly was in Charlotte, y'all. She was at the gay party for Darvin's
Yes.
going away party.
just look really fast.
All right, we are
Damn, he's
done.
tall.
Yes, that is. Well, he put on Abe's boots too. That's Deontay. Oh my God, why am I losing my mind today? Dante, Jesus.
You weren't far off.
I know.
It's okay, you weren't far. I like to give yourself
There
some
we go.
grace. It's okay.
All right, Holly, what's your social media so people can follow you?
Radio Holly, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram.
Producer Kelbin.
At Kelbin Live, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and PlayStation players, please add me. BSSY.
No, you gotta say it. No, you gotta say it. You have to say it. You have to say it.
BSSY Killer.
What does it mean?
Bussy Killer.
I told you.
I just you listen. If you made it yours, you have to say it out loud.
You gotta claim it.
You have to.
I just look at Holly.
Mine is
Inappropriate.
Miguel Fuller, Miguel Fuller.
Miguel needs to go. He is imploding.
Change the batteries, bitch.
I know, really. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.